All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me teach you a little bit here. All right, so looking at this diagram, what we're going to be looking for on the bottom side of the brain, aka the ventral side. All right, so this is what we're going to be looking for on the bottom side of the brain. You want to be able to, when I come around and ask you questions, or if I were to quiz your group, you should be able to point to these things. Some of them are going to be more obvious than others. Those would be the things that I focus on most. Like right away on the ventral side of the brain, towards the anterior portion, you've got these two olfactory bulbs. Okay, should see those right away in the front. Okay, and then so from the olfaction is smell. All right, so these are involved with smell, which is nice because they sit right above where the nostrils are. So at least with us. Um, that's got to send information back for processing, though. So what we're going to have is this part here leading back from it, we call the olfactory tract. Ochi dochi. All right. Now we come to this kind of X-shaped structure here. All right. And this is all involved with vision. Okay. And the eyes, optic, is vision. So what we're going to have is you're going to have some nerves. With some of them, I had the optic bulbs, all that fat that I cut off for you so you could see a little better. But you should still see an optic nerve coming back. Okay? So the first part's going to be the optic nerve. And what this comes to is a spot right in the middle called the optic chiasm. And what this allows is the two fields of vision to work together. All right? And then from there, what's going to happen is we're going to send that information to be processed. So we're going to have an optic tract. Okay? And that's actually going to lead to what's called the visual cortex, which oddly enough is actually in the back of the brain in the occipital lobe. All right, we have, this one is confusing. I know it looks like hypothalamus on the sheet, but it's actually the mammillary bodies. Did I spell that wrong? All right, and then this structure here is actually going to be the rhinencephalon. Have you guys ever heard of rhinoplasty or rhino, what that means? Nose, okay. This is going to be involved with smell. And the thing is, the hippocampus, if you ever heard of that, the hippocampus is involved with long-term memory storage. And that actually runs inside here, underneath. And guess what that means? Because of the close association in the brain, there's a very strong connection between old memories and smells. Have you ever been in a certain situation where you smelled something you haven't smelled in a long time and immediately you thought back to those memories? Like, I remember where I was when I smelled that. All right? Okay, so if you've got those, I'm going to erase so I can scroll down a little bit. We've got, so these are the things we want to try to identify. Now, I did notice, by the way, that some people here, you're going to see this little ball, which is actually the pituitary gland. Okay, we do have pituitary glands. I wasn't sure if they got taken off on some of them. They may have. But the pituitary gland is there, main link between the endocrine system and the nervous system. That's the master gland. It's kind of the boss. It regulates the secretion of hormones for a lot of other glands. All right? Can I erase this? Child. When did she get so childish? Okay, so now what we have left is we have, this is going to be oculomotor nerve. And what that word means is eye motor. We're talking about sending signals out to the eyes. Why would we send signals out to the eyes? I thought they were sensory. Oh, we need to move our eyes, right? Need to move our eyes around. This one here is going to be the pons. And then the last one here is going to be the medulla. All right, medulla oblongata. Sometimes we just write medulla, but that's what that is. All right, so that should finish that diagram. So then we can spend, we need to clean up soon, but at least a couple minutes, maybe trying to identify where some of those are, if we can come to an agreement, and then you can ask me when I come around again. And then tomorrow at the beginning of the hour, we can get right to identifying these things so that we can open them up and get inside, because I do want to try to finish tomorrow. Okay? All right, so I'll give you one more diagram. If you're good with this, can I erase this? All right, so this next diagram we've got here, and then the one inside we'll go over tomorrow, maybe at the beginning of the hour, so we can try to identify and quiz a little bit. But this one, so we've got three lobes here. We've got the frontal lobe. We've got the parietal. John asked me a good question. He said, I thought that looked like the temporal. The temporal's on the side. Well, the temporal is on the side more underneath on the bottom side of the brain, whereas the parietal is on the side more at the top. Okay? And then in the back, we're going to have the occipital lobe. All right? And then over here, so this is when we get the stuff on the outside. I know some people have already made this cut, but I wanted you to try to identify the external stuff first that we were doing on the last diagram. And then we're going to cut down the middle of the brain the whole way. But what we're going to be cutting through in the middle here, in the middle between the two cerebral hemispheres, is what's called the longitudinal median fissure. All right. And then these top two boxes are just pointing at raised areas or grooves. The raised areas are called a gyri or a gyrus, and the grooves are called sulci or a sulcus. Okay? Depending on if you're talking plural or singular.